expected to finally vote on the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 before it is subjected to a referendum. Now, there has been several sticking points with the bill in both the National Assembly and the Senate, but both houses are expected to finally dispense with it. Let's cross over live to City Center Studios, where our reporter Jeff Kirui is joining us live. Jeff, good afternoon. We have seen quite some debate on the floor of both the National Assembly and the Senate. What more can you tell us?
Well, a very good afternoon, Maringa. Indeed, this debate is actually coming to a wrap today. That is according to the leadership of the Senate and as well as the order paper of the National Assembly. And it is that this debate has to be dispensed of with today and ultimately have the senators have a say whether to vote yes to pass the bill or to vote to reject the bill. But as it stands now, the debate at the Senate, which adjourned a few minutes ago, that is 12:30, and is expected to resume at 2:30 in the afternoon. The debate basically has been around whether to amend this document or not. The legal minds in the Senate are actually arguing that their role in the Senate is not just to rubber stamp or ceremonial, but rather to look at the details and substance of that bill before ultimately passing it or rejecting it, and of course being taken to the president before it goes for referendum. As it stands now, the legal minds in the Senate are arguing that that document has to be amended, contrary to that ruling that came from the National Assembly, from the Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, arguing that, of course, answering concerns that had been raised by several members of the National Assembly. One of the concerns was whether that bill was properly in the National Assembly under Article 257 of the Constitution through a popular initiative. And the Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, ruled in affirmative that indeed that bill was before the National Assembly properly under the popular initiative process. And he ruled that therefore it cannot be amended, meaning that that document, or rather the National Assembly, will have to pass it as is or reject it as is. But ultimately still it will have to go to the president before going to the people for a referendum. But as it stands now at the Senate, there are serious issues being raised by members, and among the bone of contention is the issue about the proposed 70 constituencies and the distribution of those constituencies. The senators therein are arguing that they are questioning the process of distributing those constituencies, saying that it is the role of IEBC to do the limitation exercise and ultimately decide which county gets what, and what the process is actually, of course, putting into considerations the data by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. But as it stands now, there is another communication which we expect in the afternoon from the Speaker of the Senate, that is Ken Lusaka, regarding whether that bill will be amended. The National Assembly has given its ruling. We wait for the ruling from the Senate whether the bill will be amended. That was a question raised by Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., asking the Speaker to give a ruling on whether that bill will be amended. Of course, after that ruling by the Speaker, we'll expect that the senators will take a vote, and at the Senate, it's expected that for this bill to pass, 34 members are required to vote in support of it out of the members at the Senate. At the National Assembly, it's expected that at least 175 members are expected to vote in favor of the document for it to pass. I remember the National Assembly has a total of 350 members, excluding the Speaker, who has no vote in the House. So the members who are actually going to participate in that voting exercise is 349. And the voting process, as we were told yesterday by the Speaker, is that any member of the Senate who is, wherever he is, will be able to vote, putting into consideration the peculiar circumstances that the House is operating during this COVID-19 pandemic. So every member will log in wherever they are and take a vote. We'll be expecting to get that directive and ruling from the Speaker on the time exactly that vote will be taking place. But there was an appeal yesterday by the handshake co-principals, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta, as well as his handshake partner, ODM leader Raila Odinga, appealing to members to vote in favor of this BBI bill so that the process can go to the president and ultimately back to the people to decide. And another aspect that came out in the ruling by Speaker Justin Muturi when he ruled that this bill cannot be amended, he was questioning the fact that if it's going to alter the substance of the bill, that it means that it has to go back to all the 47 counties where the 24 will have to pass it and then come back to the both houses, the bicameral parliament, which will slow the process, putting into consideration that the proponents of BBI are looking at August as the date to have that referendum dispensed with, so that some of its proposals can be implemented in the next year's general election.
Can we, before I let you go, just briefly, have we seen any, the members of parliament and senators perhaps dividing themselves into camps before they vote for this bill? We've seen them vote for, or rather divide themselves into camps for yes and no. Have we seen any of such groupings in this bill?
Well, it is expected, Maringa, that members will group themselves in camps. Remember, there was the camp of the Deputy President William Ruto, popularly known as the Tanga, which from the onset they have been against this entire process of the BBI Bill. And they are actually arguing to the fact that we don't need this process currently based on the situation the country is facing, and that is the COVID-19 pandemic. They're saying that it is not a priority. But for the other side, that is the pro-BBI side, allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga, they are putting a foot forward for this particular bill and saying that this bill has to pass. But at the Senate, however, it's interesting because some of the allies of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga are actually seeking to have this document amended, but it is not clear whether they are going to support to vote yes or no. But what is clear is that these members are really agitating to have this document amended against the directive given by the party. The ODM party's position is that this document should be passed as is. And among those who are actually agitating for that document to be amended is the minority leader in the Senate, that is Siaya Senator James Orengo. And he's been on the receiving end in the last few days with a section of his ODM partners, of course, on his case, saying that he's going against the party position. But we'll be expecting to see exactly how that vote will take shape at the Senate and, of course, ultimately at the National Assembly before this document is taken to the President. According to some lawyers, actually, is that it is inconsequential whether the National Assembly or the Senate pass this bill. If they decide to pass it, well and good, but if they still don't pass the bill, then it still has to go to the President and ultimately take it to the people through a referendum to decide whether they're going to endorse it or reject it altogether in a referendum. Maringa.
Thank you so much. That is our reporter, senior reporter, Jeff Curry, joining us from our City Centre studios regarding this bill. Remember, this is the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020, and members of Parliament, that is both in the National Assembly and the Senate, are supposed to vote for this bill today, or rather by the end of the day, or in whatever timelines that shall be given. But remember that this comes the backdrop of the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi, who on Tuesday ruled out any amendments to the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, will be slamming the brakes on the debate on whether to make changes or not to this bill. But right now, I want to take you back to Parliament, that is the National Assembly, where the members of Parliament are again, or rather are still debating on this bill.
When the people rise under Article 1 of the Constitution, read by 257, there is nobody who can stand in their way, whatever it is they want to do. Look at the preamble to that Constitution. It says, we the people. There is nothing that can stand in the way of we the people when they want to amend the Constitution. If the people decide that they want to put a referendum to make fishing a national sport, so be it. That is their wish, Mr. Speaker. So I just want to indicate two things. And one of them is the question of two-thirds gender rule. We had Duale 1, we had Duale 2. Now we have the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, and hanging against us the direction of the former Chief Justice to dissolve this Parliament. Mr. Speaker, there is a question of inclusivity. And inclusivity should be looked at in different ways. Inclusivity of the youth, inclusivity of tribes, inclusivity of women, inclusivity of minorities, and everybody will sit at the table to ensure that Kenya becomes the country that we wanted it to be. So I lend my support.
Honorable Odhiambo Ochieng.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for granting me this opportunity to contribute to this debate on this historic bill. That's the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020.
Honorable Gekaria, what is it? What is out of order, Honorable Gekaria?
Honorable Speaker, I want your guidance. Honorable Speaker, I was here at 8. And let me finish, Honorable Speaker. I was here at 8. And when I put my card, unfortunately, when Wanga wanted to speak, they gave her my mic. And I raised that issue with the then Speaker, Honorable Cheboy. Bakasai, I went down again. A second time, I put my card in. Again, I am Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker had ruled that I will remain at the number I was, because it's not my mistake. And I want to